Hello and welcome to Basic Decency Training. Maybe you're here because you have a genuine desire for self-improvement, but chances are you're here because you've been required to be here by a court of law, by some moderators of an internet forum, or by a homeowners association, for example. My name is Lynn, and I will be your instructor for today. What is Basic Decency Training, you might ask? Well, it's a modern solution to an ancient problem. Since the dawn of time, people have been assholes, and I'm going to have to assume that you are one of those people. That's okay. I'm not judging. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to help. Now, am I going to make you a good person? That's highly doubtful and probably impossible. And I don't have a million hours. I just have this short course. So no, I'm not going to make you a good person. Am I going to make you a decent person? Chances are I'm not going to be able to do that either. But what I'm hoping to be able to do is get you to make decent choices from time to time. Now let's go through some scenarios and decide how we would act decently even when we're being challenged. Let's start with this example, for example. These people are annoying. What should you do? Your instincts are probably telling you that you should go up to each and every one of these 5 individuals and kick them in the shins. And I understand where that instinct comes from. This group of people is sitting in a staircase, which is something that people need to walk through, and they are impeding your journey up those stairs. But here's something that you may not have considered. Each of these 5 individuals is a human being. That's right, human beings. And even when human beings are being irritating or annoying, we should still not cause harm to them. So let's think of some other ways we could handle these annoying individuals. Perhaps we could say something along the lines of, "Hey, I appreciate that y'all are taking a photograph, but I have to get to work, and you're clogging up the stairs." That way, you do convey to them that you're annoyed and that you don't like them, but you also do not harm them. That's a compromise. Bonus, if you want to go beyond basic decency for this scenario, you could do the following things. You could walk on this part of the stairs without even complaining about their presence on the main part of the stairs. You could wait until they're done with their photograph to walk by. And if you really want to do something nice, you could tell them, "Hey, looking sharp." Moving on to our next scenario. Your neighbor made a pie. Should you steal it? But Lynn, why would I steal it? You may be asking me through your computer screen. Surely my neighbor offered me a slice. She knows I like pie. Unfortunately, though your neighbor does know that you enjoy pie, she did not offer you a slice of the pie that she made. And understandably, you're upset and angry because how dare she make a pie in her own kitchen if she's not going to share it with you. And of course, your first thoughts will be to ruin your neighbor's life, to make her life a living hell. But I don't think you should do that because it's actually wrong. But Lynn, I'm confused, you may be saying at home. How could it be wrong for me to ruin my neighbor's life or steal her pie? She was the one who did wrong to me first by not offering me a slice of her pie. Well, let me tell you something that you may not have heard before. It's not actually wrong for someone to do something for themselves and to not also do it for you. Nobody has to do things for you. Now, if your neighbor had shared her pie with you, that would have been a nice thing to do, certainly. But it is not mean to not do a nice thing. It is mean to do a mean thing. But the absence of a potentially nice act does not equal a mean act. Does that make any sense? So, what do you do in this scenario? Your neighbor allegedly didn't do anything wrong, so how do you retaliate? You do not. You just don't do anything. You don't post a snarky comment on Facebook about how you would really love some pie, but your greedy neighbors haven't offered you any. You do not leave a pie that you have baked your own excrement into on your neighbor's porch for her to eat. You do not nail anything dead to her door. You simply just don't have any of the pie. I know. Our next scenario might be the hardest one yet. You are at a bar, and here are two guys just kind of looking at you. Should you beat them up? I know your instincts are telling you that these guys have no business looking in your direction. But what if these guys are simply, and hear me out, existing? It could be that their facial expressions, as goofy as they may be, have nothing to do with you, and that they have not done anything to warrant you beating them up. Now, here are some things you may not have even considered about this scenario. In terms of why are these guys looking at you so funny, it might be that you look so funny. Your face is so clenched up with rage all the time that it may appear that you're taking a dump. And if I was in a bar and it seemed like someone was taking a dump just out in the bar area, I think that I might look at them funny too. Number two thing to consider is that these guys, they're human beings just like me and you. And we don't know what they're going through. For example, this guy, he might have just gone through a disastrous breakup. Now you know what that's like when a girl rejects you. So have a little empathy, sympathy, and kindness towards this man, because maybe he's more similar to you than you ever considered. It's time to up the difficulty factor. This is your neighbor's house, and this is your house, and this is your neighbor's child, clearly in your yard, playing with this big, dumb ball. Now I hear you. You're angry, you're furious, and you're tempted to go outside right now and scream at that child until he goes home crying with one of the worst memories he's ever received. But I'm gonna tell you something here and now that's gonna rock your world. You shouldn't be mean to that kid. I can practically hear you screaming through the computer screen now. But Manda Lynn, if I don't scream at that child, how will he ever learn? Who will teach him to respect his elders and his neighbors? Unfortunately, I have another truth bomb for you. It is not your job, nor do you have the right to parent someone else's child. So, what do you do? What is the decent thing to do if a child comes into your yard? You're gonna hate this, but the best thing that you can do, the most decent thing to do, would be to ignore it. If it persists, you could bring it up with the parents. But, and you're gonna really hate this, you should never confront a child because you're an adult. So talk to their parents because you're an adult and they're a child. I'm gonna go ahead and cover some frequently asked questions I get when I cover this scenario in my in-person courses. Number one, can you pop the ball and still be decent? No, you can't pop a child's ball. You can't knife a child's ball. You can't put a child's ball down the toilet of that child's home and then blame them for clogging up their own sewer system. None of those things are acceptable to do in this scenario. Another question I get asked quite frequently is, can I hit the child? No, you cannot. It's not your child, once again. Nobody should be hitting children. And you cannot hit this child because, once again, it's not yours. Finally, with the rise of the internet, there are so many more opportunities for you to be an asshole. But on the other hand, there are so many more opportunities for you to make the active decision not to be an asshole. So let's go through a decision tree. This decision tree will help us decide whether or not to leave a nasty comment on a video. Let's say I just watched a video of somebody making soap, and my first thought was, I don't like this video. My first question is going to be, is the video hurting anyone? Yes or no? Now, your first instinct may be, yeah, this soap video is hurting me because I don't like it. But here is an uncomfortable truth. Things can exist that you don't like, and that doesn't mean that they're actively hurting you. So ask yourself again, is this video hurting anyone? Since the answer is no, we're not going to leave that nasty comment. Now, if the answer is yes, your second question is going to be, really? Is it really hurting anyone? If you saw a video of a woman in tight clothes dancing and you got kind of mad because she's not your girlfriend, that isn't hurting you so much as you're miserable and you watched a video. So ask yourself again, really? Did it really hurt me? And the answer is, it didn't. So you don't need to leave that nasty comment. Thank you for joining me for today's basic decency training. I have faith that you can all do better, because how could you possibly do any worse than you're currently doing? Join me next course where we'll cover when to call the cops on children. Spoiler alert, it's not often.